Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Welcome to Hello Uglies, the Dragula recap show for Season 6, Episode 4, titled The Ghost Train. My name is Joe Batanz, and I am joined, as always, by one co-host with Loco Motives from Bloody Podcast. Please say, Hello Uglies, to the goddess of glitz, glamour, goth, gossip, and gore herself, the one and only Laurian K. Roggenkamp. Hello, Laurian.
Hello.
You know, I haven't decided yet.
Shut up!
Oh my God!
You faked that, Majesty.
No, that is not fake. No, not Majesty. I did not fake that. What I was gonna say is, to show you it wasn't fake, I've been thinking about whether should I. No, we'll talk about it briefly. But I might put. Oh, you know what? On the dedicated Hello Uglies feed, I'll do it, but I won't do it on the recap Hello Uglies feed. About, the financial, dire financial straits Afterthought Media is in. And it doesn't mean anything for Patreon, but it definitely means something for the public feed. And so everyone will hear this part. If you want to support Afterthought Media and help us get out of these dire financial straits so we can start paying Lauri again, go to afterthought.media.com. Go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia /collections, but the link will be in here. But there's also, if you just go to /afterthoughtmedia, patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, there's a tab that says collections, but you can also go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia /collections, or you can just go to the show notes where there's a link. And look, Lauri, I put the first season of Hallmark Homos on there for $5. It is so funny, and it's because each of those episodes was really long.
Yeah, because didn't we start it during the pandemic?
Maybe they were really long, and there's 7 of them, so it's a lot of content for $5. You have bonus episodes of the tea. You have the Sydney gays. That's more expensive. That's $20, but totally worth it. So is Finding Prince Charming, which I believe is like $15. Like, there are lots of content. So we're not asking you to just hand over money. What we're asking you to do is download the Patreon app, but don't buy it on the Patreon app. Go to the website, buy it on the website because it's cheaper.
Okay.
Then you can listen to it on the Patreon app. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can buy it online. It's cheaper, but then listen to it on your phone on the Patreon app. Patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, hit the collections tab, or just go to the link right there in the show notes. All right, Lauri, this week the Deadly Dolls design a look based on the idea of a ghost train. In addition, the ghouls must work in groups of 3 to lip sync to the Boulay Brothers' newest song, Ghost Train. In the end, Aurora Gosmic was named the winner of the challenge, while Grey Matter and Vivi the Force were placed in the bottom 2. For this week's extermination challenge, the monsters had to hold on to an electrified fence, and the one who let go first would be destined for doom. In the end, a skeleton was left holding the cage, but who went home? Stay tuned. Laurian K. Roggenkamp, what did you think of that extermination challenge, and who do you think went home? Let's discuss this right now.
I mean, honestly, if Vivi the Force doesn't go home, I think this is a bullshit thing, because literally every single time she talks in a confessional, I'm always like, oh, she's still here. So yeah, I just,
so
I'm not a fan of hers, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So let me say this. Okay. Let me say this. One, I think the likelihood, based on what everyone's saying, the likelihood of Vivi the Force being the one to go home are the lowest, because
What?
there is a little bit of a hint, but I'll tell you what the theory is on Reddit. there's a little bit of a hint. If you noticed, right before the camera cuts to black, like a part of the skull right here lights up. Which might hint to gray matter, who's always showing that part of his brain or their brain. Yeah. So there's that hint. But what I'm going to say right now, and I was telling Lauri before I do the alert, there are people who have a theory on Reddit. But what strikes me as weird about this theory is they make it seem super like it's super obvious, which it wasn't obvious to me. And it leads me to think that they know the spoilers and they're trying to pretend like they deduced this on their own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for that reason, I haven't done this in a long time. We're going to talk about it, but first, there's going to be music after. There's going to be an alert and then music. Yes, people, we might be talking about spoilers here. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, get the fuck out. For Dragula, this is going to be
This is the spoiler?
The secrets. Yeah. If you were hearing music, by the way, we're going to be talking spoiler stuff. All right. So you can keep jumping forward until you don't hear music anymore. So...
Shut up!
So there are people on Reddit, and it's several people, who are like, I think Majesty quit.
No.
And so neither one is going home.
I can't see that.
They're saying, this is what I'm just reporting the what they're saying, Lauri. They're saying that they kept hinting that Majesty would quit because she was like, she went up to them and was like, if I could go home in your place, I would.
Yeah, that's fake. But that's what she wants. Oh my God, you're playing right into her hand. That's what she wants you to think. She is so produced on this episode. It is ridiculous. She's so fake. It's ridiculous. I highly doubt that.
I found them. So, but that's what I'm saying, is it's so ridiculous that's why I'm thinking that the Redditors who are saying this know the spoiler and they're saying this.
No, I think they just say things with confidence or type it and then people believe it. No, I don't.
Sound familiar, Lauri?
I don't, yeah, Joe, it does. I know gaslighting when I see it, and this is gaslighting. Yeah, no, Majesty is like literally producing herself this entire episode. It's so, and she's not a good actress. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So yeah, it's bad.
So you're not subscribing to the theory that Majesty quit and they both got to stay.
No, because I'll tell you why. If that happened, I think they would have kept it. Because she said if I could take your place, I would. Well, then take their place. Just do it. But then they still had to go and do the extermination.
So who do you think is going home then?
I would say Vivi the Force.
I would say, based on if we're taking that Majesty did not quit out of the equation, or that Majesty quit out of the equation, I would say only because of the lit up part of the skull that gray matter is going home.
Ugh, I can't say gray matter has done phenomenal this competition. Honestly, besides last week's look, Vivi the Force has just sort of been the entire time. So I can't see. I mean, that would be ridiculous if they got rid of gray matter.
All right, well, why don't we just leave it right there then, since the song ended? It was on a loop, but I was like, that's a good place to end it. All right, now what did you actually think of the extermination challenge?
I thought it was lame. I mean, I don't even know. It didn't even feel like to me like they were actually being electrocuted. Like, it felt to me like nothing was happening. The way that they had their fingers And they were doing that. I mean, it was such a weird way that they chose to make this coil and do this thing that it just made me feel like they're not actually getting electrocuted. They're just, maybe they're getting like a buzzing in their fingers, but I can't see anything shocking happening. And they were making it seem like they were, about ready to die. Yeah.
Or if it was so, because they, if you actually give any sort of meaningful amount of electricity, a lot of really bad things can happen to you. Like your heart can stop. And
like continuous things. Like you could have heart problems. You could, so I doubt that they were actually doing that. The thing that I find so funny with the Boulet brothers is they'll promote these dangerous activities, and you're like, for a fact that you don't have the clear. There's no way that you would risk a lawsuit with this shit. I thought it was. I got to be honest with you. I did not like this episode. I've liked every episode.
Yeah, you hinted that. I liked the episode, if I'm being honest with you. But,
I liked every episode. This one I thought was super boring.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about this when I listened to the last episode, that it was like 3/4 of the way in, we both said we really liked the episode, but we had bitched about it the whole time. So I was like, we should do a thing where we should say whether we like the episode or not. I personally liked the episode, but you're saying you didn't like it.
I didn't like it, and I felt like they were relying too much on Majesty to, the auntie and then they kept referencing that they called it Chicken Gate, which I was like, can we just stop calling things
We'll talk
gate?
about this. Yeah, we'll talk about this. But we talked about this is, yes, they got rid of the worst drag queens, but they were the most interesting television in what's her name? Scylla and Desiree Dix.
Yeah, Desiree Dix.
The first one they got rid of, she was boring. But Scylla and Desiree Dix were bringing drama, and now they're gone.
Yeah.
So now you have a bunch of people who aren't super... Now Anti-Heroine's stepping into place, and she's just getting really annoying.
Yeah. Anti-Heroine. Yeah, and then you got Anti-Heroine who's like calling out Majesty, but then it's making it worse.
We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about that. So why don't we do this? Before we talk about all that, so we can stop Lauri in her tracks, why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the rest of the episode. We'll be back right after this. Hey everyone, Joe here. It feels like everywhere you look these days, people are talking about weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. But here's the thing. You don't have to be a celebrity to have access to these kinds of treatments. Thanks to Hers, getting the help you need to manage your weight is way more affordable and accessible. Weight loss isn't one size fits all, trust me. I wish. If you're like me and have struggled to shed those extra pounds, you know how frustrating it can be to find something that works. That's where Hers comes in. They're shaking up women's healthcare by offering personalized weight loss programs that fit your specific needs, whether it's GLP-1 injections or oral medication kits. What I love about Hers is that you're not just getting the meds and sent on your way. They connect you with a medical provider who works with you every step of the way, making adjustments, answering questions, and offering real support. Plus, it's 100% online with no extra costs. And get this, their GLP-1 injections start at just $199 a month with a 12-month subscription, no hidden fees, and they ship straight to your door for free. That deal is so good, it's criminal. Start your free online visit today at forhers.com/crime. That's forhers.com/crime for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/crime. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply.
It feels like you can get your credit scores anywhere these days. Random websites, card statements, budgeting apps, heck, even your dog might bark out a few numbers. It's true. Credit Karma isn't the only place you can find them. But we actually do more with your scores to help you find your next financial opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! The possibilities are kinda endless. Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
And we are back. After the last episode, after the last extermination, the monsters rehash Chicken Gate and guess who was murdered before Yuri enters the room to answer that very question. Later, Auntie confronts Majesty about her narcissism, and Majesty responds in kind. Laurian, Roggenkamp, we're going to stop right here. What did you think about this whole moment after the extermination?
Yeah, I thought it was... it was okay. It wasn't great. They really had nothing to talk about. And then I thought it was funny that they you could I forgot who was talking, but you could tell that they had nothing to say. That the Boulay brothers were just say something until Yuri walks out. So they were well, the thing about drag is that you have to have the right. And they're Yuri's hello, bitches. And they're you interrupted us. Yeah. And it was just you got nothing. You had no sentence there.
So I want to address something you brought up right before the break. Is one of the first things they bring up is what they are calling, I would never call it this, Chicken Gate. The fact that Desiree Dix in the cauldron in the previous episode threw a raw chicken at Yuri.
Yeah.
Okay. And am I the only one? I think we kind of addressed this last week. I don't think it was that big of a fucking deal.
No, and also, and I didn't bring this up before, but watching the recap, she bounces it up and down 3 times before throwing it at Yuri. So it was you knew it was, you knew something was coming.
Well, I spoke to our friend. He hadn't even watched the episode yet, by the way. I spoke to our friend who knows Desiree Dix. And I was talking, and I said, have you watched the episode yet? He goes, oh, no, I haven't watched it. And I go, oh, and blah, blah, blah. We started talking about Desiree. And he goes, I know she goes home because that's all I know. And he goes, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But he was talking about how she's known for throwing things in her world. And he goes, he was with her one time at a brunch and she just started throwing dildos at people on the street.
Okay.
So throwing things at people is kind of her thing. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, not that I'm a fan of it or anything like that, but they were acting like throwing this chicken was the wildest thing that has ever happened on this show. And I was like, it's not even that big of a deal. And then Aurora says, she's okay, first we gotta be established. Aurora is is very much an idiot, right? Yes. She says a lot of idiotic, stupid shit all the time.
Yes.
And she goes, I don't even know why a chicken was in the room.
Yes.
And I was like, because she carried it on the floor show?
Because she had her floor show. I don't even know how a chicken got in the room. Why did anyone have a chicken?
Yeah.
And then she also goes, I want to send Yuri a bill because I got soaked by that wine.
Yeah, she's really annoying. Yeah.
Aurora is a disappointment. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, no, she is a very big disappointment. So I wanted to say it again. Chicken Gate comes up yet again later in the episode. I think it's one of those things where they saw it and they thought it was going to be like the TV moment. They're all waiting for that TV moment, that fuck the big picture, Clint. And so they're trying to anticipate it. But it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, it wasn't. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And.
Yeah, fuck the big chicken, Clint.
And then Majesty says something.
Yeah, so here's what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what happens. They're talking about Yuri, and someone's saying how much they admire Yuri for this or that, and then Majesty says, yeah, and for her to come from another show, they can't say Drag Race, it must be so weird to have to go from another show to this one. And then she says, like me, I was on a show before and I've had to change. And then that's when she brings it back to herself.
Yeah, I have a target on my back.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is, look, it's very reminiscent of somebody we know. I was actually laughing at somebody we know did it today. And I don't know, I found it not as annoying as Auntie found it. Where do you fall on this?
I feel the same way as you. The only thing I could think is that, they have to be together. So I'm thinking that maybe it just seemed to me like maybe this was something that was happening backstage as well as on stage.
So people think this online as well.
But I will say this, the thing that annoys me, and I think this is something that Anti-Heroine pointed out, which, by the way, Anti-Heroine annoys me as well. Yeah. But the thing that annoys me about Majesty is there is a clear distinction between who she is in the confessionals and who she is on the show. She is two different people. And on the show, she's so fake and so produced that, I mean, honestly, to me, I find it shocking that nobody else is calling her out. I mean, maybe they just don't care. And maybe Anti-Heroine's like, I'm going to take advantage of this. But it was just crazy to me that nobody else was like, everything you say, Majesty, sounds fake and produced.
She sounds very fake, very produced. And that's why I don't know how anyone takes it seriously.
Yeah.
And you would think that Auntie, since they're already trying to anticipate how the audience is going to react to things, and maybe the other queens do this, but that Auntie would be like, everyone's going to see through this. By the way, just remember, Majesty, let's say Majesty's really annoying. Let's say Majesty's really fake. It's really obnoxious. Auntie is Scylla's drag mother.
Yes. Well, I'll also say this, Auntie was like going down the road where I agreed with her. And then she went, and like made a sharp right. And I was like, I don't agree. Because she was like, I've dealt with enough narcissists to know when somebody is fake, right? Okay, fine. I agree with you. Fine. That's your, if that's you, I agree that she's acting fake. We're going down that road. And you're going to have to prove to me. And I was like, what? Prove to you?
Yeah, why you?
Why you?
Yeah.
But that happens multiple times throughout this episode where, again, these queens think that they're somehow the deciders.
Well, the other thing, too, is I think there's the conventional use of narcissist, and then there's the clinical diagnosis of narcissism. And is Majesty a narcissist? I think which people think to mean like self-centered. 100%.
Yes.
Right.
But I think
100%.
all of them are too. I think you have to be a little bit narcissistic to have the confidence to go on a competition show.
But Auntie is acting like Majesty is like a pathological narcissist, And I don't think Majesty qualifies as that. Like, in other words, I would never call Christian a narcissist. He's self-centered, right? But I wouldn't say, he's he's not like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
No. But also, we're not doctors, and neither is Anti-Heroine.
No, and I was going to invite, I tried to invite one today, but he's not watching Dragula.
And we're not doctors, and we're not medical professionals. So, for Anti-Heroine to be like, oh, you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
I feel like is a little, I just feel like fake is the main thing. Is that she just doesn't come off as genuine. She comes off as very her everything she's saying doesn't seem like it's what, she's not a good, the best way I can describe it is it's like she's reading a script and she's not a good actress.
Oh, you see, I agree with you, but I take it as she's secretly making fun of them. Like she's being so fake, as trolling them in a kind of way. I think
maybe that could be her motive, but that's how it's coming out. Because I think that she just wants to manipulate. I mean, she said that. She said that she wants to manipulate people.
Yes. 100%. All right, next, the Boulay brothers appear on video to deliver this week's challenge. They are to design the monsters, are to design looks based on the theme of the ghost train. They must embody an original creepy character or ghost passenger. They must also break up into groups of 3 and perform as a trio, lip-syncing to the new Boulay brothers song, Ghost Train. Later, they'll present their looks in a haunted train yard. Back in the lab, the girls get to work. Asia's apprehensive about teams. Auntie also doesn't do teams. Later, Israel enters with a tray of jewels, and the girls go crazy as this part was really weird to me, as they jockey to get the jewels that they want. Finally, the girls choose teams and get to work. The teams are as follows. Which, by the way, ultimately, none of this is important, but team number 1 is Majesty, Yuri, and Gray Matter. Team 2 is Pi, Jaharia, and Anti-Heroine. And team number 3 is Aurora, Gosmic, Asia, Consent, and Vivi the Force. Back in the lab. Oh, no, we already know about this one. And then it's floor show day, and the girls get ready for the haunted train yard. Yuri forms a choo-choo train in the lab. Meanwhile, Auntie and Majesty's drama from earlier resurfaces. Majesty confesses she feels even more alone than she did before, thanks to Auntie, and Auntie accuses Majesty of acting like a narcissist. In return, Majesty Asia points out Auntie's tattoo of herself on her chest. All right.
Yeah, that's later though, and when they're putting the makeup on.
Yeah, that's what we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's not much to this episode. We're already there.
Oh, really?
So let's go back. There's nothing that I saw about when they announced the challenge, but let's go to the first version of the workroom. And the girls get to work, and they're choosing the teams. Again, when they're just getting ready to before the jewels come in, Auntie again is being a total fucking bitch to Majesty, and it's random. Now, people online have speculated that whatever Auntie is a bitch to Majesty about happened in all the stuff that they cut out from the last Cauldron, like, the fight between Desiree and Majesty. My
question to you is, why do you think they didn't have a pull-aside? They've been doing those pull-asides like crazy. And then
That's
one time when they address something, they don't do a pull-aside.
And by the way, we didn't revisit again in this episode the rumors about Aurora.
That's dead.
Leaking stuff.
That's basically dead. I feel like that's dead now. Nobody cares about that. And Aurora is not gonna she was like, oh, I guess nobody told on me, so, or now I guess maybe she assumed Scylla was the one who did, but but also I forgot who it was, but somebody when they were doing their makeup goes, did you guys go to the side and talk? And they were like, no. It's just like, oh, no, okay.
They talked right there. Okay, so then Israel walks in with this shitty, ugly, fake costume jewelry.
It didn't look good, right? I was like,
no.
Everyone was like, oh my God, look at the jewel. And I was like,
I think because they were a sponsor.
I did not like any of those.
It looked like, like when my nieces were really little and we'd buy them like shitty, like Disney princess jewelry.
Yeah. It looked like
that.
It looked like a costume jewelry.
Yeah. Really bad costume jewelry. Yeah. And then they did a whole thing where they went to pick teams, and it was really long of them trying to pick teams.
It was long and convoluted, and at the end of it, I didn't understand until they were working in their teams who was actually on a team.
And here's the thing, too, is ultimately the teams were not important. It was just like who was going to be where when they lip-synced this song. They were ultimately judged as individuals. It was just an unimportant thing.
Yeah, it didn't matter. They did dance routines, and I don't feel like that really paid off in the so I guess I don't understand why. So
also at one point Auntie says, I don't want to be with Pi because we're too similar. I'm like, they are? I think Anti-Heroine and Gray Matter are more similar than she and Pi are. Am I wrong?
Well, she goes, we're the only 2 camp queens here. And I was like, only 2?
They're all camp.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. Then they went to a long, again, where they just showed them working on shit and blah, 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 blah. So there's not really much to discuss there. But then we go to floor show day.
Oh, Joe.
What?
You forgot about the train.
Yeah, that was in Floor Show Day.
You forgot. Oh, I thought that was at the makeup one where they're doing okay.
They're on Floor Show Day, and Yuri goes, you know what? It's been very stressful. Let's do a choo-choo train, right? And so then they do this weird-ass choo-choo train.
Have any of these people ever seen a fucking train? Have any of these people know what a choo-choo train is? I literally was like, you just hold on to somebody's sides and walk behind them. How hard is it to understand? They were like, one guy was twirling.
Yeah. And I think they only went like one time around. And I was just like, that's just, you just walked around the room one time.
Yeah.
It felt very like the producer said, go and do a choo-choo train. That'd be so funny.
And then everyone wanted to do their own thing.
Yeah. So then they bring up Chicken Gate again. And it's just like, stop trying to make Chicken Gate a thing.
The Asian consent says we need to let loose and do this train after all the stress of Chicken Gate. What stress? What stress?
The person who threw the chicken who should be stressed is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will say Auntie starts shit with Majesty again.
Well, somebody asked her about it.
It's Asia.
Yeah.
And then Majesty gives a sort of backhanded, but a very sincere sound. Well, no, not sincere. Sorry. Fake sounding, but fake sincerity answer. Where she's like, I never felt more alone thanks to Auntie. But, that's your truth and you're speaking it. And then Auntie's like, you fucking cunt. And I was like, fuck you, Auntie, for making me side with Majesty on this.
Well, I just don't side with anybody. I think Majesty is reveling in the fact that she's getting under Auntie's skin, and Auntie's playing right into her hand. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you just like fucking be like, you're a fake piece of shit, and I'm not having anything to do with you.
So, I have a weird conspiracy theory.
Okay.
There might be nothing to it. I could be 100% wrong. But I think they filmed the floor show and the train yard and the lip sync on a different day. And now we're here in the makeup room and they're putting on the makeup for the final judgment. So in other words, they're not putting it on for the floor show. That was already filmed.
Oh.
They're putting it on for final judgment.
What makes you say that?
It just wouldn't make any sense. Why would the girls get in full geesh and then have to go somewhere in a van? They probably have to do touch-ups again when they're there, do the makeup, and then come back.
Yeah.
But they would have to probably replicate it to go onto the floor for the final judgment.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's my weird theory.
And we didn't even have a fright feed. We didn't have a fright feed this episode either.
No. Okay. Well, it was a little tough, but the ghost host was able to, before we go to the ghost host, let's do it backwards. Let's talk about that lip sync first.
Okay.
Because of rights and everything, I can't play it. But you know that the song the Boulay Brothers did is a ripoff of the...
No. Are you going to say the song I'm thinking of?
The True Detective theme?
Oh, no.
Oh. Have you ever heard the True Detective theme?
I was going to say The Way by Fastball.
You know what? It has that same sound. No, but it is legitimately a ripoff of both songs. But, other than that, I thought the lip sync was just very whatever. I couldn't even tell you what somebody was bad or good or anything.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like when I was listening to it, the sound wasn't syncing correctly, but it seemed like a lot of them weren't lip syncing correctly. But they didn't mention that in the judging. So I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I have to look at it again. All right, let's go to the floor show. The theme was also the ghost train. They were supposed to be like either a haunted passenger or some sort of creepy person. The winner landed up being Aurora Gosmic. I don't know that I agree with that. I probably would have given it to Yuri. What did you think before we get to Aurora? Oh, let's play the ghost host talking about Aurora first.
Aurora Gosmic. Her ghostly debutante haunts the runway in icy blue skin, draped in a vintage gown and a luxurious fur stole. The blood-red crystals on her chest hint at a deadly struggle for her jewels, while the grisly suitcase she clutches reveals her haunting fate. A chillingly glamorous specter doomed to ride the ghost train forever.
All right, what did you think of Aurora Cosmic there, Lauri?
I didn't like it. I thought she looked like a Smurf. Like a fancy Smurf. And yeah, I mean, I didn't see glamour. I don't know. I didn't think she looked good at all. I thought the purse didn't make any sense. Why were they on the pearls on the outside and they were bloody? And then they kept saying they were blood diamonds, but those weren't diamonds. So I didn't get it.
I thought it was fine. I just didn't think it was. I thought Yuri's was better.
I will say this: I didn't like any of them.
Oh, really?
I thought all these looks were not great.
There were some people like, honestly, Majesty might have been. Like, I wasn't even sure how Majesty had to do with a train.
Yeah, I mean they were like, oh, I liked her concept. What concept? Like, I didn't get that. They kept talking about how great Pai's makeup was. I was like, and she kept saying, oh, I like to blend different blues in. And I'm like, that's just one blue. I don't see any other blues.
Let's go to Yuri.
Ah, Yuri, a ghastly ghost bride draped in deathly grandeur. Her decayed ball gown flows like tattered memories, once majestic, but now worn by time and tragedy. With sickly, pale skin and elongated claws, she is a bride whose happiness was cut short, perhaps left waiting at the altar for eternity. That sinister smile, it hides centuries of sorrow and revenge.
Lauri, your thoughts on Yuri?
Yeah, I didn't get this either. I mean, it was an ill-fitting gown. I do agree with them that the blindfold was an interesting concept, but she almost immediately got rid of that. And then she was just a pasty drag queen in an ill-fitting gown. I didn't get why that was good at all.
All right, let's go over to Auntie Heroine.
Ah, Anti-Heroine, a ghostly conductor with a flair for the macabre. Her tartan ensemble mixes Victorian prim and haunting grandeur, as though she's been guiding souls through the spectral rails for centuries. The exaggerated train conductor's hat and twisted mustache add a sinister charm, while her ice blue skin and dark eyes reveal a spirit that thrives on steering the damned to their doom. Truly a masterful mistress of the ghost train.
The ghost house is very intense today.
The ghost house kind of makes me like these outfits. I'm like, oh, these are nice. These are nicer than what I'm thinking.
Oh, so you liked Anti-Heroine.
No.
I didn't know Anti-Heroine was a conductor.
No, I didn't know she was a conductor. Well, she had all that stuff in her bag. I didn't think it was like wrenches, and she looked like Jafar after he becomes a genie. Like, I didn't get Ghost at all.
Yeah, it had kind of a dolly face, yeah.
Yeah.
So far, are you saying that all the looks you're going to say are kills?
I didn't like any of them.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go to the bottom two. The first one of the bottom two is Vivi the Force.
Ah, Vivi the Force. Her tale more brutal, her fate more gruesome. The tattered gown, drenched in blood and twisted ropes, tells the story of a damsel who met a violently tragic end beneath the ghost train's wheels. Her burned, mangled visage and torn veil make it clear she is a spectral bride cursed to relive the violent horror of her demise. A truly disturbing and visceral embodiment of a life and body shattered.
The ghost host, I've got to say, is very extra today. What did you think of Vivi the Force? You didn't like it.
I didn't like it, but I will say this. I didn't think it was any worse than any of the other ones. I mean, they kept saying it wasn't well put together, and I was like, what makes hers worse than, I don't know. I just didn't think it was as bad as they were trying to make it. But I mean, I just don't like her in general on the show.
She's kind of boring. Yeah, she should just go home because she's just a boring person. All right, finally we have Gray Matter. Here we go.
Gray Matter. His ghostly cowboy is a sinister spirit from the Wild West, eternally roaming the ghost train with his weathered hat and bullet-laden bandolier, his decaying face complete with rotting teeth and blood-soaked eyes tells of a violent end and a soul damned to wander. The dusty coat and revolver complete the image of a long-dead outlaw trapped in the afterlife's lawless land. A haunting cowboy, but it seems this ghoul couldn't quite wrangle a spot on top.
Okay. The ghost host didn't seem to like this one. And you didn't like it at all. I actually think, strangely, even though I couldn't think of an alternative, but they were right that it seemed much more haunted house than drag. But
what's
that's
funny
what
with
she
that
is
that they kept saying, I didn't know you were a haunt star. And I kept thinking they were saying hot star. Or no, hot actor. They were saying hot actor. And I was like, are you saying hot actor? And so that was confusing. But yeah, no, it definitely felt very like this is something you would see coming out of like a corner or something.
Yeah.
And also the showing the brain is getting a little old.
Well, what's funny is he didn't even show it because he had a hat on, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Final judgment. Back on the floor, the Boulets name Aurora Gosmic as the winner of the challenge. Meanwhile, Vivi the Force and Gray Matter are placed in the bottom two. Later in the cauldron, Majesty declares she's sick of being safe. Gray confesses they're anxious about the extermination challenge. Vivi reveals she was shot in the back of the head with a rubber bullet during a protest. The creatures worry that Gray is shutting down. Meanwhile, Asia and Majesty have a conference on the side as Auntie gives side-eye. In a final moment, Majesty tells Vivi and Gray Matter that if she could go home in their place, she would. Let's stop and talk right here. What did you think of this cauldron? I thought the cauldron was very whatever. Again, none of the drama when Desiree Dix is not there.
Well, one of the things that I thought was, again, this is the ongoing frustration, is that they kept saying, oh, we want to see Gray Matter fight more. And it's like, fight for what?
Yeah.
What do they have to prove to you? You are not the judges.
Well, the other thing, too, is they're like, okay, you're going to do this extermination challenge. Okay, so then you go in the cauldron, you just wait to go to the extermination challenge.
I mean, that's basically what Gray Matter was like. Look, I'm about to get shocked. I'm not excited about it. And they're like, show us more energy. For what purpose? Why did she need to show you anything?
Once again, they seem to believe they are on a competition show where they vote to eliminate each other, to vote someone off the island.
And it's happened once.
Yeah.
It has not happened since. And they keep acting like any moment the Boulet brothers are going to come to them and be like, who do you think should go home? So I don't get that. And then they had the whole thing where James Majesty was like, I don't want to see either of you go home. This is so hard for me. And it's like, okay, fucking, calm down, girl. Like, it's a competition. And then Asia has to console her. And it was just like, it was a lot. It was just too much. It was, maybe I'm just not in the right headspace, but I just did not like this. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care about James Majesty's fake bullshit. I don't believe for a second that she's this is how much I don't believe her. I don't believe anything she said. I don't believe her boyfriend broke up with her.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that she's, having a hard time. I don't believe any of that.
Do you believe her uncle died?
No, I don't believe anything.
What's funny is I don't believe she's having a hard time because she doesn't seem to be having a difficult time, and she says it, and I haven't seen any evidence on camera that she's having a difficult time. She just says this weird thing that she feels alone. What does that mean?
Is this just her way of getting attention for other queens to be like, no, you're not alone. I'm here with you. I support you. You know, Asia Consent was like, just don't let the haters get to you and just do your best. And it was like, what haters? All anti-heroine's doing is saying, stop being fake. I mean, she's doing it aggressively, but still, I don't know. I just was like, I don't care about this. And then also, like, then we had to have the thing with Vivi the Force was talking about something very serious, getting shot with a rubber bullet in the back of the head, which could have killed her.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how rubber bullets are called non-lethal, and they're fucking, like, ridiculously lethal. They've killed people with rubber bullets, and then James Majesty is just like, I feel so alone. And everyone's got to flock to her. And nobody's like, hey, tell us more about this, brave thing that happened to, like the most interesting thing that's happened to Vivi the Force. And everyone's like, yeah. And we're
Let's talk about Majesty, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, for this week's Extermination Challenge, the monsters must hold on to an electrified fence for as long as possible. The one to let go first will be murdered. In the extermination, we see a skeleton fried as it grips onto the fence, but who went home is unclear. Laura, you've had a lot of thoughts, most of them negative, about this episode. Any final thoughts on the episode?
You know the song The Way by Fastball?
Yeah.
You know what it's about? The story?
Isn't it like an old couple that's actually a real story and they...
Yeah.
went off the road and they got lost and died or something?
Yeah, but what's even crazier is that they went like hundreds of miles out of the wrong way. Like nobody knows why they were driving that way. And I guess a police officer pulled them over because they were driving the wrong way down a street, and he goes, and they're just like, oh, we're just lost. And he gave them directions and then sent them on their way. And that was over 100 miles away from where they were supposed to be. So yeah, the mystery is why were they driving for so long, and what were they, the prevailing theory is that I think the husband had some kind of brain injury and the wife was showing signs of like dementia. And so they think that they just got lost and couldn't remember where they were going. And, that's the prevailing theory. But I like to think aliens. So that's it.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Hello Uglies. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of Dragula Season 666. So for Laurian K. Rockenkamp and myself.
So long, Uglies!
Thank you for listening to Hello Uglies. Have something to say? Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. For access to more LGBTQ content and other Afterthought Media shows, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Hello Uglies is an Afterthought Media podcast.